It is so scary this. I mean the actual regulation when it comes to the criticism thing. I mean the swearing thing is relative small fry in my opinion compared to the criticism thing here. The actual regulation that they've put forward here is the forbidding of any words, deeds, or writings that have caused moral injury or loss to the FIA, its bodies, its members, or its executive officers, and more generally on the interest of motorsport and of the values defended by the FIA. That is unbelievably open-ended, and the bans that these guys can get. And this isn't just for the drivers. This isn't just for F1. This is for all top level FIA motorsport series. So World Endurance Championship, World Rally Championship. This affects them. This also affects team personnel. So the team principals, the race engineers, anybody. And, drivers can, in theory, get a ban of up to 1 month for breaching these regulations, which could be 3, 4 races. It is an absolutely terrible state of affairs. And apparently, this was voted in as well without key stakeholders here. There were no driver representatives there. This was done very cloak and dagger. With an online meeting, apparently. I mean, this is the thing, Deb. We love Formula One. We speak about Formula One. We write about Formula One. We're talking about Formula One now for a podcast. And we sing its praises when it's good and we criticize it when it's wrong. And we should be able to do that. But not allowing people actually inside the sport to do that, I think is extremely dangerous. Not only for what I just spoke about, also what Owain was saying from a safety aspect as well. If drivers say, oh, well, the barrier wasn't good enough, the marshals didn't arrive fast enough, things like that. Is that criticism? Is that going to get them punished for speaking out?
I think, George, it's a fairly contentious issue. What the FIA are implying here, and quite directly rather, is that anything which is deemed to be offensive, insulting, coarse, rude, or abusive, or so on and so forth, is just not allowed. Now, sometimes drivers, more often than not, they are they're roughly handled for no fault of their own by the opposite numbers in the other teams and cars. And we saw with the likes of Nikita Mazepin, for example, drivers who would spin on more occasions than keep the wheels of the car on the track and then causing skirmishes and accidents. So a lot of things can actually happen at the heat of the moment. You don't necessarily mean or imply to be harsh or insult an organization, an institute, or the other driver, but then words come out at the heat of the moment. It doesn't mean that you actually have a very strong intent behind it, or you're being deliberate in that regard. So, when you hear a preeminent and esteemed institutions such as the FIA going ahead and calling in for this kind of a rule to be accepted and become the norm, I think it's very draconian in its construct. I would say that's the only adjective that comes into my mind, and I'm not sure whether the 20 drivers on the grid would be able to comply with that. So it would be, what this does effectively is that it makes an already controversy fueled sport even more controversial in what's to follow in 2025. And the very fact that you cannot level a point of criticism against the institution called the FIA, to me that's that just sounds like a very morbid idea. I mean, I can have a different point of view. I may not necessarily. So, what has the French philosopher Voltaire said? I may not agree with you, but I shall defend to death your right to say it. It seems that we've really learned nothing. I mean, even if we were to extract a minuscule virtue from that, it's a very poignant, it's a very deep thought in there. And I'm not really sure what luminaries like Stefano Domenicali and Ross Brawn are up to when under their. So they're also as much a part of this decision, it means, right, as the main man out there, the sheikh, the big guy from the Middle East. But I mean, it's just it's making the sport ludicrous. And there will be instances where for now, the association hasn't really said anything. They haven't really put forward a particular point of view. But I think as the season begins and then more races unfold, they will realize that this is like a damning blow to what is an essential right, to have a critical point of view towards something and then not to be able to express it. I mean, that's basically just bottlenecking yourself up. So I don't think it's 100% good news.